get it. I mean, really, for a moment.
Bro. So 2 people
so
you're working with, one of them's quitting, the other one got fired.
And the other one's working with me, and it's weird.
The only one that's making any money is the one that got fired.
All right.
There's Jim, and my homeboy Jim.
Yeah, check this out. Check this out. This is even crazier. So I called and asked.
What up?
I text.
Hold on just a second, Tommy. Hold on, Tommy. What's going on with you?
All right. How we going on? You all right?
Yeah, man, I'm chilling. Here you go. It's cold.
Yeah, but thank you, brother.
All right, God bless you.
Yeah, man, look,
Love you too, brother. All right, brother. God bless you. Thank you.
Too,
Thank you. Sorry about that, Tommy. I was working. Delivering a package to a homeless guy.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, I give him drinks. So I figured he was going to be there. He likes cold drinks, and I had a cold drink. So
you know, Amazon does a celebration gift for homeless people and for people that need assistance. Then you can go shopping for free.
Okay.
And they'll send everything to you.
I don't know what that means,
But yeah, so here's my thing. He was trying to tell me, well, you need to not do this, and you're talking too much. And really, around Ramona, it does make you upset. So I'll ask you these questions, Jim. He said, around Ramona, I noticed that you do get a little upset, and I do. Because every time she acts crazy, I'm like, man, I'm trying to help her, and this is happening. But he's saying this, and he might be kind of smart. He said, but she's manipulating, not manipulating, she knows she could get away with it, and she just does it to get her way. So that's manipulation. He said, I noticed that she'll act mad, and you'll give in to her and let her have her way sometimes to keep the peace. And I know that's this girl, he blessed her peacemakers, but also stand up to her when it happens, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to, but maybe I should draw a harder line. What do you think? I did ask her about church. She said she can't go this week because she has surgery to do. And she gets really weird about it. And now, well, my music, I got to do my music, I got to do this. So anyway, we'll see. I just thought I'd run it by you and see what the Lord impressed on you about it. Like, with the Lord impressed, not with Jim things, but with the Lord impressed.
Lord said she's going to be moving soon.
Huh?
Said she's going to be moving soon.
I'm going to be moving soon.
Yeah.
Where am I moving to?
Not you, her.
Oh, she's going to be moving.
Yeah.
Well, now, you're right, the guy's going to be moving. He's moving, and he's going to a different job.
Yeah, but I'd say she's going to be moving too. I don't know. I be getting it wrong.
Yeah, he's definitely moving. You're right about that one. Now, Ramona, I don't know. She's definitely moved jobs, you know what I mean?
She might be moving soon. She got any brothers or anything?
The guy, no, he's just with his mom.
I mean her, Ramona.
She don't have no family, though. Her sister's around, but yeah, they don't know. Nobody talks to her family. But they don't talk to nobody else. Everybody's separated. Her sister's rich around here. The mother's up north, and her other family's up north. She's definitely got a good place that she loves. She cooks for me all the time. So, well, what I was going to do is, the guy was talking about what I should do with Ramona, do this. So, and I said, well, how do you know? Well, because Ramona talked about me. So I was going to say to her, hey, do me a favor, don't talk to, what's his name, Devin, about me no more. I appreciate it. But should I even say that?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to
She ain't going to talk to him no more anyway. He's leaving. I mean, probably nothing. Because, I mean, if you're going to say anything, what you need to do is tell her that she's got to go to church with you on Tuesday or Wednesday, one or the other. And Tuesday already passed. Because then the Holy Ghost can talk to her, and then you ain't got to talk to her. Let the Holy Ghost work all this out. But she got to come to church. She can't just watch it on the internet. She needs to come and participate. There you go. She need to go to church with you at our church so the Holy Ghost can talk to her. Play the Proverbs, and I would lose the demon. So listen to the complete book of Proverbs, and I'd lose the demon. Right in the very last verse, it was gone. But point is, you got two of them riding with you. They're double teaming you. Yeah, they're double teaming you. Right? Yeah. They're both, it's crazy. I had that. Oh, you should have fun. Play the Proverbs for these people and watch them throw up. It'll be fun. Okay. Well, that's good. No, that's good. At least they ain't in the car with you.
Yeah. Everything's good then, man. Now you kind of gave. So now I know what to do. So now that's why I knew that.
Either need to get her to go to Tuesday church or Wednesday church with you, or you can't really work with her because she's not going to get any better, and it's going to be same crap over and over and over and over again. I didn't have that type of thing going yet. I didn't know about LFM, and I didn't have. She did. I think she went to church with me a couple of times. She did get saved. And then she was gone. And she almost died, and then she got healed, and then the next time she got sick, she died. But she did get saved. So.
All right, my brother, the Lord spoke to me a little bit. That's what I needed. I knew that the Lord told me to call you. That whatever things you say, sometimes we don't even know what we're saying. The Lord just speaks to us. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right, brother.
It's about deliverance is what it's really about. It's great that y'all can you can make some money, she can make some money. But she's not there for that. She's not there. She's here for deliverance. So.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna bless her. I'm about to text her and say, go to bed. God bless. I bless the Holy Ghost will speak to you tonight as you sleep. And about anything that's going on in your life, he'll give you answers. I'm just going to say it. God bless you.
Right on.
And I want her to think about it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's something simple like that. I'll figure it out. All right, my brother. Well, I'm going to bed. I've been a long day. I got a big day tomorrow. I got to get some stuff done tonight. Not tonight, in the morning when I'll get up early and take care of it. I'm too tired to do it tonight.
Okay, God bless you.
So,
peace.
God bless you, brother. All right, bye.
You have a call at no expense to you from
Joshua Blocker.
an inmate at Bullock. This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. Three-way calls are not allowed per ADOC Administrative Regulation 431. Inmates violating AR 431, as well as those individuals assisting them, may be subject
They hit a
to
neck on a
discipline.
human at 140 yards, right? That's how easy these weapons are to learn how to
You said
shoot.
that you were
Such
a
as
vet.
Canaan
Are you not?
Well,
County Mobile
because
App.
you do, yeah, I'm saying, eventually you do, you're like, can I hit the shoulder? And then you hit the shoulder.
Both you and the
Have you
inmate
ever
for
seen a product
promoting
that
prison
transforms any
contraband.
ordinary space into
Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. That just don't work.
a ocean protector? The mood light
Yo,
is taking
chilling.
the market by storm. Over
Yeah, we got 10 minutes. And after this call, I'm gonna do a prayer call.
Thank you, Marina, for taking the time to talk with me. It means so much.
Word up. Okay, hold on.
And,
Going that way.
Black King from the burrito. Thank you. So I got a burrito. Yeah, summer sausage, sardines, Cheetos, and noodles. Smash.
Yo,
It's all good. Another day close to getting out. Let's sit on there and I'm gonna shake this place off and be peace. And it's gonna be awesome. Okay, sardines in the gym.
got sardines in it.
About food there. Yeah.
Yo,
In the burrito. Yeah. And they got these summer sauces, but I want to see it while I'm on it. So they got beef jerky on the store now too. I don't know what kind of beef jerky it is and how much is in the bag and all that. So I got to see somebody get it before I go and get that. I ain't doing on store though. That's where it's at.
pizza cobbler. Pizza cobbler. Going to the pizza cobbler spot. It's right there, right there.
Almost time for another shot.
Where's this spot? Okay, let's see. All right, here we go. We on the road. We on the road. I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. Where the college is. They got a peach cobbler place. You buy the peach cobbler. Probably is. Probably seems expensive.
Dude, we're going to Orlando Beach. Is it Leon? Is Leon coming? Yeah, Leon should come. said Auntie can wash clean my hair.
Like, but then it's, you want to try the golden refresher? No, refresher. Huh? The juice? Siéntese acá, mami, para que se tome.
Hi.
Chocolate chip milk? Huh? Yeah. Can I have a chocolate chip cookie?
Boss man, don't forget your cigarette.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not mine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
How you doing, my man?
And then,
Appreciate you.
can I also get one of your, the peach cobbler with the ice cream?
It's like a brand new pack, don't it?
It looks like it. You don't see that seal popped in the front. It's most likely somebody else.
And then what are you getting now?
Just vanilla and a sugar cookie.
Sugar cookies and banana. So a sandwich? Oh, no, so a plain sugar cookie with the ice cream?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just separate.
No, the plain one. And then a scoop of ice cream.
Are they soft, sweetheart? Cookies soft?
The
Are the
cookies
cookies
are
soft?
soft. And the water.
Wait.
Oh,
Do they have local?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably did, huh?
I don't smoke Newports anyway. I like red pack.
Yeah. So the peach cover is put the ice cream, right? Oh, on the side? Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I love you. God bless you.
Try to eat out as much as I gotta go back. It's okay. It's okay.
Daddy, there's a shark.
Oh yeah.
It's probably somebody's tag.
Thank you.
I think they did it.
Let me go get a napkin.
Thank you. God bless you.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, that'd be a cool tag, though. I
Yeah,
don't know how you would do it, though.
not bad at all.
Maybe a sticker.
Yeah,
Could be a
yeah.
sticker.
No, you know what? It's stilts.
Stencil?
Stencil. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's
So they put one on there, get the outline, then put another one, do the color.
quick.
Yeah, and it's
3-4 sprays and you're done.
I'm from California, so they do a lot of stencils.
Yeah.
That's
Well, God bless you. God bless your family. You got a nice family. God bless you.
Good night.
Got the Hungry MF. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's new. I've been there once. Pretty dope. Okay, my bad. I forgot to take you out the pocket, but it's all right.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Thank you for having me. Now, it's not sold. We're so curious, right? Like we always, when you're like, oh, don't look now, right away you look, right? You know, So I started to peek under the sheet and started to realize that, I didn't know what it was, And then soon enough, he just removed the cloth from my head, and I was watching with him, and then he just started to reenact everything in the with me, and it started at 8 years old, and it was such a long battle because I didn't know it was wrong, right? And then we read that embarrassing detail that nobody likes to talk about, because if we don't talk about it, then we'll never normalize all these embarrassing things, right? And we need to normalize that it is embarrassing, but it's not embarrassing. It shouldn't be embarrassing for us to talk about it. It should be embarrassing for the perpetrator that did this to us.
Let's start at the beginning. So you were born in Brazil, right?
Yes, I was born in Brazil, Belo Horizonte, and I moved out of Brazil when I was 8 years old into New York.
But they do not want you here.
So at first it was really wonderful because all I really wanted was to be with my mom. Like, I don't know, I think Latin women are very attached to their mothers. And that's all I wanted, was really to be with my mom. Like, I was so sick without my mom, And when I got to New York, I would say, I don't know, a couple months into it, my mom had a set schedule, which was she was working in a building, she was cleaning this building, and my stepfather had this weird schedule where he was like one of the illegal cab drivers where you go and you pick up people from the airport. So he had a very crazy schedule, so he would come in and out. And soon enough, he started to put on the TV and lay me on his lap, and I would lay my head on his lap and he would cover it with a sheet. And I think anybody, even as an adult, we're so curious, right? We always, when you're like, oh, don't look now, right away you look, right? So I started to peek under the sheet and started to realize that, I didn't know what it was, And then soon enough, he just removed the cloth from my head, and I was watching with him, and then he just started to reenact everything in the with me, and it started at 8 years old, and it was such a long battle because I didn't know it was wrong, right? And then later on, my mom got pregnant with my stepfather, with my sister, and we moved into a bigger house. And when we moved into a bigger house, we had a 4-bedroom. We rented out 2 bedrooms. 1 bedroom was my mom, my stepfather, and my sister, because she was still in crib, and I had my own room. And one day, I must have been about 10 and a half or 11, and my stepfather we were in the bed, and he was rolling me around, but doing something sexual. I can't really remember what it was. And my mom opened the door and he threw me off the bed. And I was confused because I'm like, what are we doing wrong? Right? I didn't know, And my mom immediately mad and called him over to the other room and was like, hey, argued with him and came to me. It was like, hey, I know what's going on between you and your stepfather, and I want to tell you that it's completely wrong. He's much older than you. This is not okay. Kind of broke it down to me. But she skipped the step of really asking me what happened between you and your stepfather, And the craziest thing is it never stopped, because obviously you can't just tell somebody that likes little kids and is not to do that anymore.
But she didn't end the relationship with him at that point.
No, she did not end the relationship with him at that point. What he was doing, I was like, oh my God, this feels so great. This is so good, But then when my mom told me, I understood that it was very wrong. So I do say, in some of my platforms, he made me feel good, but I didn't know what it was.
So then when your mom told you it was wrong, was there a switch in you where all of a sudden you realized?
100%. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea of this. I didn't know that this is my stepfather, that we were doing something sexual. I had no idea that this sexual acts that he was giving me, that was pleasuring me, was not okay to do it with an older man. It went on for so long, to the point where he started to physically abuse me when I would tell my mom. So then I started to get angry at my mom because my mom was leaving the house. She would leave to go get groceries and leave me in the house with him. And I'm like, what the f-? You know exactly what he's doing. So I started to argue with my mom, and I was 11 years old. And I'm like, why the f are you leaving me home? He's doing this to me. And she would she would gaslight me and be like, we're going to leave. and then we would never leave. And it went on until I was 12.
Would she ever ask you during those years, is it still going on? Has it stopped? Would she check in with you at all about that?
No, I would tell her, and I think she would even try to like not want to know about it. And I don't know if, because now as an older person, I feel like she feels that I enjoyed it. Because we don't talk. And certain things that she has said to me, it was almost like
Crazy.
To 1910, I don't know if Steven Spielberg knows this, 5% of his family married into another German family called the Ochs, O-C-H-S, who would migrate to New York City and create the New York Times. The sons of the Ochs family were married to women into the Schultzberg family, who would go on to own the New York Times. The Eigers, the Eisners, the Zavloffs, the Bloombergs, the Zuckerbergs, the Grants, the Smiths, the Newhouse, the Greenspans, Greenspuns, Breitbarts, Murdochs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what LeBron James, and I'm not talking about Jewish people. Don't get straight YouTube, don't take it as I am talking about a global system where they are all related by blood. I'm not saying they're evil. This is the system. All these owners of the NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, the media, Hollywood, entertainment, education, government, global politics, they're all related. The beginning of the end for LeBron James, the Luciferic succession. A woman by the name of Edith Cole, C-O-L-E, who married into the Wilson family, who were gone to create the Buffalo Bills. Edith Cole, 5% of...
What if I told you that you could turn your boring bedroom or car into a literal underwater galaxy in exactly 1 second? Yeah, I didn't believe it either until I saw this. This is the Kamau immersive...
Alex Jones has just announced that he believes President Donald Trump should be impeached over the Iran war. Now, this was a lengthy rant that he posted on X. This just broke, so we didn't have enough time to grab the video, but I'm going to read exactly what he said in it. So this is something he put out to his nearly 4 million followers, and he accused Trump of trying to bring back the national draft ahead of a full-scale ground invasion into Iran. He went on to say that Trump will use total war to take our freedoms, nationalize everything, and push us aside with artificial intelligence, total liability, immunity, and protection. Now, I'm going to read you verbatim what he said in making the argument or the case in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. And so I'm calling for it right now. 25th Amendment, impeachment, whatever needs to happen to get this front and center, to get control of our country. It's impeachable alone that the president's supporting the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, which of course includes that provision merging the U.S. military with the terrorist IDF. I agree with Tucker Carlson and all of the people who voted against this, the mergers of the foreign military. It actually says it in Section 219, clear as day. Need to be Nuremberg-style trials. I mean, this is unbelievable. You know, I gotta say, there's more. I'm gonna read it in just a second, but Alex Jones has been like looking better, if that makes any sense, like looking a little healthier. And I don't know. I just feel like he's been saying a few things lately. I don't agree with everything he says. Please don't. Please don't. Like, but let me be fair to him. He has been saying a few things, especially as it pertains to the surveillance state, as it pertains to our conflicts abroad, the wars that we've been engaging in for endless support of Israel. He has been speaking out against that pretty consistently.
So, I'm going to note two things here. First, this is kind of amazing because we just had the 10-year anniversary of our fight, me and Alex Jones. But remember what that fight was about. It was at the RNC. It was the night that Donald Trump was giving his acceptance speech. And Alex Jones had come onto our set to make a case that Trump was amazing and great. And we were totally wrong about Trump, right? And then we got into that kerfuffle, let's say. Okay. Now, 10 years later, I nearly wore my 25th Amendment t-shirt today. He's talking about the 25th Amendment. We didn't go to his position. He came to our position.
Well, he realized that Trump is a fraud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'll give him credit. This isn't like a ha-ha, okay, we won, you lost, we were right, you were wrong. No, for a minute there in this term, Alex Jones was still trying to defend the war and Israel and all this stuff, and he was looking like a total hypocrite and utterly fraudulent. And we were pointing it out with a little bit of glee, like, what happened, Mr. The government, etc. I'll take my shirt off. But here he is actually going back to whatever his principles are. And you could disagree with his facts, and why God have we in the past, and we will continue to, right? When it's called upon. But he did return to principles, and that is something that you have to give credit for. Saying, no, I am against big government. I am against a surveillance state. I am for America and not for other countries. Anybody who does that, I say, all right, credit where credit is due.
He also said, and if you think it's crazy now, imagine what's coming with this. They want us in a total war so they can censor and take our freedoms, nationalize everything, and push us aside with AI, total liability and protection. This is a disaster. We are facing tyranny, but the public awakening. We've got to come together and transcend left and right, and we have to say no to an expanded war that will definitely destroy the economy and kill a bunch of our troops. They're preparing a massive ground invasion. It's all confirmed. This is going down right now. Rex, I'm guessing that's his co-host, I don't know. Rex, what do you think we should do to spotlight this? I'll tell listeners, we're live right now. Share this live feed. We're going to cut all this up, calls for impeachment of President Trump for attempting to reinvent the national draft and launch a total ground invasion of Iran. Americans left and right must come together now and demand Congress invoke the war powers and end this war now.
So why is he saying this now? Like, he's been turning on Trump for all these reasons. It's not just overnight.
Good job,
right?
Alex
We covered
Jones.
that as well. But apparently we had a straw that broke the camel's back. And so remember, earlier in the show, we reported, also breaking news, that Netanyahu came out of his meeting with Trump, his 7th or 8th one, and said that this was their best meeting ever, and he's ecstatic about how things have gone.
Yeah.
Trump has been saying publicly, oh, we've got a big attack we can do and we're thinking about doing, right? If Netanyahu's ecstatic, then that probably means that that attack is coming. And so, and about the ground invasion, is that just conspiratorial talk? Because it's not like Alex Jones isn't capable of that. He's very capable of that. Or does he have access to information? Well, he is on the right, and he does have more sources on the right.
Yeah.
So it's not inconceivable that it's actually coming from sources. And within the context that we can see with our own eyes, it seems to match the fact pattern of, there is a massive attack and ground invasion coming, and that is what's causing Alex Jones to go, no, that's it, I'm totally done with him, and he should be impeached.
So this is my speculation, take it with a grain of salt, but I have to get this out. I've been noticing that Piers Morgan has been repeatedly kind of like excoriating Trump because he is certain that we're gonna go back to war against Iran. I mean, we're still at war with Iran, but we stopped the bombing. He seems to think there's going to be a major escalation, and he keeps repeating that. And remember, he can't stop himself from talking about how he and Trump talk on the phone.
And our friends.
So I'm wondering if Morgan might know something that we don't know. I have no idea. Because I'm like, why do you think there's 100% definitely going to be a huge escalation in this war? Where are you getting that info from?
Yeah, so we don't have access to that information, so we can't tell you either way.
I feel like this
but it is concerning that people who might have access to that information are all waving giant red flags. Watch out, a bigger escalation of the war is coming. And remember, we told you Ukraine attacked Iran, expanding the war. Lindsey Graham's last act was sanctions against China and India because they're buying from Russia, so that expands the war even more. The Houthis and the Saudis are involved. And you know what? I'm actually going to read a quote from one of our members because it's so relevant to this. No Math Dragon on Twitch said, I'm still trying to figure out how Ukraine found out about an Iranian ship in the Caspian Sea. Ukraine is several hundred miles from the Caspian Sea. That was some great shooting. That's such a smart point. Because how in the world did they get that intelligence? They got it from Israel, right? So Israel is expanding the war. Netanyahu is ecstatic. And even Trump's biggest allies, people who are literally will. This is a story about the one who looks to Granger to make sparks fly. Getting it done right is a crime. My guest is a former prosecutor and host of Crime Stories with Nancy Grace, which streams new episodes weekdays on Fox 1. Please welcome for the first time to Straight Shooter, the one and only, Ms. Nancy Grace. How are you? How's everything, Nancy?
Thank you for inviting me. That's a very tough question because all day long I investigate and analyze murder and mayhem. Very often, Mr. Smith, I have people ask, why don't you smile on TV?
Yeah. You can't.
Wouldn't that be odd for me to smile in the course of reporting on a dead young man or a missing child? So, although I had great happiness in my life because of my twins.
I got you.
Boy-girl twins I had 18 years ago.
Wow. All right. That's a lot. That's a lot of reason to be happy. No question about that. Let's get right to this case involving Nolan Wells. You've been all over this case right now. Just as a reminder to the audience, Wells was the 18-year-old college football player from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, who was on a boat July 4th with a group of friends and traveled by private boat to Horn Island, an uninhabited barrier island off the Mississippi coast. Wells was the only black person, so reported, on the boat. When the friends returned to the mainland, Nolan was the only one who did not make it back. Talk to me about this story, Nancy, and what do you make of it at this particular moment in time?
I think that it is very murky, and I do not understand, Stephen, the demands on all platforms for the investigation to be shut down. Is it possible Nolan Wells died by accident? Yes, it's possible. Is it possible that there was foul play? Yes, that is possible. And I don't believe the investigation should be shut down until we know the answer to that. I have 2 children, both the age of Nolan Wells. I would be lying on the courthouse steps screaming for justice if the investigation into a death related to them was shut down before I had answers. So I don't understand where all the hate is coming from.
Who specifically is calling for the shutdown of the investigation? Just to educate my audience.
Well, go online. There's any number of people, thousands of people that think that, quote, this was an accidental drowning. Why are you doing this? You're a race baiter. You're fill in the blank. This has nothing to do with what color his skin was. This has to do with an unanswered question during my prosecutorial career. I very often was the only white person in the courtroom. That has nothing to do with Lady Justice. What Lady Justice wants, what justice demands, is a full and fair investigation. And I'm also not saying that's not going on, because my boss, Lewis Slayton, the longest serving elected district attorney at that time, I think, Stephen, it was 37 years, was like a grandfather to me. He was very strict, no one to speak to the press. It could ruin the case. I always had the same answer when asked. I believe a Fulton County jury will render a verdict that speaks the truth. Because I did believe that. We are not owed an explanation from law enforcement as to what they are doing. However, there are a lot of questions, specifically, Stephen, regarding the autopsy. The initial autopsy has remained under seal. We don't know what the answer was. The family, understandably, sent Nolan's body hundreds of miles away for a second opinion. When that
Elijah A. says, leave it door, 3,419.
I understand why the lungs are missing, because this could have been a drowning case. But why the throat? What was there about Nolan's throat that piqued the interest of the original medical examiner? That leads me to speculate. Was there bruising? Was the hyoid bone fractured? Was it broken? Was it dislodged? Is there possibly bruising on the strap muscles? Is it indicative of a blow? We know on the back of the head, that's your occipital bone on the back of your head. That would.
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. What we got here? What is this? This is the food. Okay, what is this for real? Okay, let's put this in this bag. Okay. Which one's which? Okay, so let's see. Okay, we got cobbler and something else. Elijah has the Ike's Cafe. Ike's Cafe, and then the cover. This is Ike's Cafe. Let's go. Be back. Right. Thank them. God bless them. Thank them and God bless them. Even if they're rude. And they're looking for a reason. No, he goes stabbing the traps. Okay, what? So far,
that there is deep red discoloration under cutaneous tissue. What? Is it from a blow? Is it from diffusion of the blood post-mortem? I don't know. But none of it is good. So I need answers before any investigation is going to be shut down.
What do you make of those who have said, I remember Officer Tatum, a conservative podcaster, very popular, over 3 million subscribers. He's been on a warpath going down, talking to some of the people that were there with Nolan Wells, white individuals. He's saying that evidence is showing that they departed. When they departed, Nolan Wells was alive, and you know what? They may have had absolutely positively nothing to do with this. The evidence shows that. Is that your finding, that the evidence shows that the people being, with allegations being thrown in their direction, the suspicions that have been raised by these people that were in attendance with Nolan Wells, that they should be, they have been proven or found to not have been around even when he was still alive? Is your findings consistent with anything along that verbiage, what people are saying about these kids that were with him?
No, I don't know the answer to that. They say Nolan chose to stay behind because he knew a girl he wanted to talk to named Katie. That girl has spoken through her sister, we are told, and she says Nolan told her, I'm going back with my friends. So, who am I supposed to believe? I don't know for a fact that what the boys are saying is true. I don't know for a fact that what the boys are saying is false. I do know they called SEATOW, S-E-A, second word T-O-W, and said that their vessel was sinking, but yet they continued boating around in it for hours after. Is there an innocent explanation? Maybe. Maybe they thought it was sinking. They found the problem and they fixed it. Now, specters have been raised about audio suggesting Nolan had been on the boat on their return. I don't know if that was doctored. I don't know if it's real. I do know this. He went to Horn Island with them. They came back alive. He's dead. I'm going to investigate. You darn right I'm going to investigate. And my wish is that his friends are innocent and that this was an accident. But it will be a cold day in HELL that I endorse closing down an investigation because somebody said I had nothing to do with that. What? Am I supposed to go, oh, okay, case closed, forget about it, and go tell the mom, we're shutting down the investigation because so-and-so said he had nothing to do with it.
Have you received any indication from law enforcement that that is their intent? That their desire is to close down this investigation? Have you seen any indication like that at all?
No, and that emboldens me. That emboldens me because so far they haven't finalized this thing. As a matter of fact, the other day, a female journalist got a hold of law enforcement, the sheriff. He wouldn't answer any questions, which he should not have. And he stated that all questions were to be directed to the district attorney's office. I expect what they'll do is this, Stephen. I expect that they will call in a grand jury. A grand jury has two purposes. It can be a charging grand jury. I presented hundreds of cases to grand juries to get an indictment. It can also be an investigative arm. It can subpoena documents. It can call for witnesses. It can question them. It's an investigative, a fact-finding grand jury. They may do that, or they may be able to do it on their own without calling in a grand jury. But I believe that law enforcement will do the right thing. Much has been made of the fact that Crump, who is representing Nola's family, turned down a request, an offer to bring on scent dogs and cadaver dogs to the boat. Well, I've got to just swat that down right now. Crump, or the Wells family, doesn't have the authority to allow anybody on that boat. It's not their boat. I've also learned through the grapevine that the boat has been searched. I would like to get my hands on that GPS nav system. I would like to find out if cadaver dogs were brought onto the boat. I would like to get a hold of Katie and question her. And I would like to ask each one of the boys separately what happened. And I'd like to give them a polygraph. Is that so wrong? That's what I would be doing right now.
Nancy, I don't think it's wrong at all. And with those questions that you're asking, I think all of those are very important, very, very significant questions that need to be answered. What's the resistance to getting those answers? Is it law enforcement saying it's an ongoing investigation? You're not entitled to know things until we tell you to? Is it the family getting in the way? Is it the Wells family picking and choosing who they want to investigate matters, and they're interfering in their own way? What's this mess that seems to have been made of this case? Where does fault lie, if any at all, in your estimation, as to what's impeding progress in this investigation from taking place?
Stephen, I believe a lot of people desire controversy. I think that there are people out there that want to spin it out for their own gain, be it fame, be it money, and I cannot relate to that. I'm a crime victim. I'm a victim of violent crime. My fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding. It changed my life and my family's life forever. It even affects me now, how I raise my children every day. I can't lay fault at the family's feet. I can't do that. I think that hate, racial hate, is being stirred. The pot is being stirred, and people are coming out. I looked at my Twitter the other day. I wish I had, with the worst slurs. They're not, usually people will try to hide it. They're putting it in writing. It's just anger and hate, and it's boiled up in the form of this case. And I pray to God that we will get justice regardless, notwithstanding all the hate. I don't know where it's coming from. I can't identify with that. But I can tell you this, we're not letting go till we have an answer.
Your thoughts on the Wells family? Some people who wanted to point the finger at them, and I found that to be, I just find it to be wrong. I'm not looking at the family who lost their son or lost their sibling. I'm not looking at them. I'm not trying to look at them in any negative way. But there are people that have looked at Crump's presence. Civil rights attorney. Obviously, he's represented white clients as well as black clients in the past. The family brought him in. They brought up Al Sharpton eulogizing Nolan Wells at the funeral. They brought up these kind of things to say that, you know, the family, if not the family, those connected to the family, are stoking these thoughts that you just articulated. That's a very, very big concern to you. What are your thoughts about that when the Crumps of the world, the Al Sharptons of the world, even though he just eulogized them at the funeral, he's not necessarily involved in the legal process, their involvement in something like this, what does that do for or against the case in your estimation based on your experience reporting on these potential crimes, allegations involved in such matter?
I don't care. I care about one thing. What happened to Nolan Wells? I don't care if Al Sharpton is stirring the pot. I don't care what people say, the rocks they throw, the slings and the arrows. Don't care. That does not dissuade me from finding out what happened. Now, sometimes people seek refuge. How do I know the family didn't know who to contact? How do I know Crump or Sharpton didn't contact them? And they said, yes, help me please. Maybe they thought an injustice was going down. I don't know why they chose Crump. I don't know why they chose Sharpton, but I can tell you this is not a Miss Congeniality contest. Nobody's going to get crowned Miss Sweet Potato at the end of this. Everyone will get hate mail, everyone is going to get threats, and everybody will be disliked. But in the end, we may find out what happened to Nolan Wells. So go ahead, sling mud, attack Sharpton, attack Crump, attack me, attack the family, attack the boys that were out there that day. For all I know, they've all passed a polygraph. I don't know that. But I do know I don't have answers, and a young man the age of my son and my daughter is dead. That's all that matters. I don't care what Crump or Sharpton scream into a microphone. Irrelevant to me. I only care about the facts.
Let me be more specific. What I'm getting to is, does the presence of individuals like that, based on your experience, assist in expediting the process to get closer to the truth? That's what I'm wondering about, specifically.
I think it does, and I'll tell you why. Whether you like Sharpton or you have to hold your nose, you don't like him, don't care. But guess what? Every TV was turned on this case.
Sedarius R says, leave at door 11:15. Once you come through the gate, you're gonna make the third right and it's gonna be the last apartment.
Ever lost. Nobody knows their names. Nobody cares. But because those two jumped on the bandwagon, or hitched a ride on the bandwagon, I don't know which is true, now there is focus on the Nolan Wells case. And I say, fine.
Authorities have said they suspect drowning. How do you feel about authorities coming out without the investigation being completed? I'm thinking about your former boss, who was like a grandfather to you, that told you don't go to the media.
Sounds like it's gonna rain. So far, still nothing new on that case. That's what I'm noticing. The only thing there is right now is...
I'm looking at authorities coming out and saying they suspect drowning. I think that's a very presumptive statement to be coming out of their mouth. What did you say?
I don't think there should have been any comment at all. If they had to say something, it should have been along the lines of, we are investigating the case to our fullest ability, and we are open to any information, any help.
Seguil. Lucifer Seguil. Nikes, Kobe, successful, be successful. Upside down pyramid. I'm sorry, upside down major. Forgive me, Holy Spirit. Upside down major, mocking Christ. Kobe paid with his life. See, Kobe did not have the Holy Spirit. He did not have discernment. Kobe brought, and I'm not condemning his soul. When you don't have God, he was Catholic. Stop. When you don't have Christ in your life, you don't have the apostolic faith, and you're not under any apostolic covering of an apostle, a bishop, or a local pastor. These are the stuff that happens. Thank you, Apostle Lane, Apostle Coley. Seguil, Lucifer Seguil, signature, the nature of a Seguil.
Steven Seagal.
Don't ever write your name in a signature. Well, how do I write my name? Just print each letter. But I'm under the blood. Listen, yes, you're under the blood of Christ, but the blood of Christ has given you and I wisdom. I don't ever write in cursive or a signature. I always print out my name. The beginning of the end for LeBron James, the Luciferic succession. Lucifer Seguil on Google Images, signature. The Seguil of Lucifer that you can see on Google Images. The Seguil of Lucifer. The Seguil of Lucifer succession. LeBron James must fulfill his contract. We gave you $1.5 billion. We gave you riches and fame. And you're calling yourself the king. And we have covered up for you. ESPN has covered up. Stephen A. Snitch has covered up, okay? Kendra Perkins, who can't put two coherent words together, has covered. And Nick Wright has covered up for you, LeBron. It's time to pay the piper, okay? You're not going home to Cleveland. You're going where this mess started 6.5 years ago when you passed Kobe on third place for an all-time NBA scoring list. That is in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Don't believe Kobe's fans, especially on Instagram. Oh, he's excited to be in Philly. No, he's not. He doesn't want to live in Philly. Why? Because he didn't want to go there. He's forced. We got your tapes, LeBron. Backside blown out. We got your tapes, LeBron. You're on those flights to St. James Island. Ladies and gentlemen, they want blood.
They got him on the tape.
His wife, his daughter, his two sons. I don't want nothing to happen to them. His mother, someone has got to pay the invoice. Unless Christ intervenes. Yep. Now here comes black folk on Instagram. And you're saying, I know black men can be, yes, you can be successful. Yes, you can be a billionaire. Yeah, but you have to do it God's way. You can't have your backside blown out and say it's God. You can't bend over and say it's God. You can't get down on your knees, sucking demons and call it God. The devil is a lie. And all these ignorant fools on Instagram I don't care what names you call. I am going to expose your God, LeBron James. Why? Because he's a fraud. In my conclusion, March 1, Volume 1. The beginning of the end for LeBron James, a Luciferic succession. One dies, Kobe Bryant. One rises, LeBron James. The Lakers they didn't want LeBron James. Rich Paul, Maverick Carter, has been lying since the beginning of free agency. Oh, LeBron decided to leave the Lakers. The devil is a lie. They didn't want him. Mark Walter, who owns the Dodgers, he did not want LeBron. Oh, little Bronnies, little heart attack. You think that was by accident? That was a warning shot over the bow. The system telling LeBron, okay, if you're going to play for the Lakers and sign it for one more year, that's it. You got people in North Philly, oh, we can protect them. Stop. The seagull of Lucifer. The seagull of Luciferic secession. Now LeBron coming down, Luka Doncic rising. Kobe Bryant prophesied.
What's happening? All right. Thank you very much. God bless you. All right.
On Google Images, the seagull of Lucifer's succession. Also on Google Images.
All right, here we go.
Trading seagull, final decal. I'm going to go through all that. A sacrificial death, blood is the currency. So Kobe Bryant was not willing to bend over anymore, and Kobe Bryant was not willing to pimp out his daughters. I want Dwayne Wade to hear me. If you guys get an opportunity, go on Google.com. And I believe, I'm going to try to find, I got to find this. And I believe it's on the Business Journal. Okay, give me a couple of minutes. Is your mind blown? Put up those faces. If your minds are blown today, put up the Pentecostal fires, okay? Dwayne Wade misunderstands. He misunderstood. Listen, Zaya, LGBTQ. Now, I've got to find this article, okay? And let me see here. It shows, I believe it's on the, thank you, Holy Spirit. I think it's on the Business Insider. No, that's not it. So on the, I believe it's the Business Journal, on the link where Dwayne Wade has a misunderstanding of LGBTQ communities. Has a misunderstanding. I want to make sure I get this link before we close out tonight. Okay? Here we go. Thank you, Holy Spirit. The Business Insider, Apostle Colleen, Apostle Lane, give me a few minutes and we'll let you guys go. On the Business Insider, go to, type in on Google.com. Let me get a drink. I love teaching. Go to Google.com and type Dwayne Wade says that he grew up a little ignorant of LGBTQ communities, but that having a son who uses the pronoun she made him look myself in the mirror. Apostle Colleen and Apostle Lane, go to businessinsider.com/Dwayne-Wade-Son, or go to google.com and type Dwayne Wade says that he grew up a little ignorant of LGBTQ communities, but that having a son who uses the pronoun she made him look myself in the mirror.
So they made him say that.
Apostle Lane, if you can find that, Apostle Colleen, you still with us, Apostle Lane? Please put that up, and let me go through this again. Business.com/Dwayne-Wade-Son-LGBTQ. Dwayne Wade says that he grew up a little ignorant of LGBTQ communities, but that having a son who uses the pronoun she made him look myself in the mirror. You guys got that? Okay. Apostle Link, okay, anyway. When you go to that link, and you guys get an opportunity tonight, right now, or after class.
Via your marketing agency?
Do you own a company?
Yeah.
You run ads?
Yeah.
We built the first AI-powered end-to-end marketing agency. That means you have agents that'll do your SEO and paid ad, and they'll do it for a 10th of the price, and they'll do everything. Strategy, execution, reporting, everything you need.
Where do I check this out?
Yeah, our website is called gomega.ai. Book a call there.
So that story was absolutely critical to the story related to why Charlie Kirk was killed and all of the entirety surrounding it. That was a critical piece. And Colvin, he just said the words, "We paid for it." He said that, okay? Now, obviously you needed the context in advance, but there you go. What are they, what are you gonna say about that? Oh, I've got a video for you guys today. So, if you guys were not aware and have been living underneath a rock, I have a pretty unique take on the Charlie Kirk investigation and what I believe probably happened. And, listen, I'm willing to entertain any options. However, when there is one that seems most likely to me, I am not going to shy away from that at all. And I'm going to point to things that support that conclusion. And today, I've got a real big one, a really big one. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that, okay? But first, I'm going to show you a video that was put together by someone who's showing some very bizarre behavior from the TPUSA people on the day of 9/10, okay? How people have looked at this stuff and not come to the same conclusion as me is beyond me. The only thing that I can attribute it to is it takes brass balls to just even float the idea that I have floated on this, but it is what it is, man. Okay, behind the scenes, a lot of people are like, yeah, probably, dude. So this is going to be a quick introduction to what my theory is, and I'm going to show you some very bizarre behavior that I don't know, man. You tell me, and then I'm going to show you something that happened today, that I saw today from, I believe, let me see, actually. This interview that TPUSA did, this is very recent. But it's just catching steam now because people finally just caught what they said, and wow. But let me give you guys some very important context before we look at the clip, okay? Check this out. So do you guys remember this? Candace Owens calls for, quote, witch hunt over alleged spell cast on Charlie Kirk before assassination.
Rent free that I feel like I need to open up to the internet about. I feel like TikTokers can help me with this a little bit. Somebody told me that when you're doing an investigation, it's really good to go back to the beginning and you'll start to recognize things and see things in a new light that don't really make sense. And so I did that with this Charlie Kirk investigation. In the craziness of the aftermath of Charlie's assassination, we were told that there were witches who had put a spell on Charlie Kirk, and they had, been contacted by journalists journalist, and then those witches put a spell on him. The journalist published the article on the 8th. Charlie somehow saw it very quickly on the 9th. A priest came over to pray over him, and by the 10th, he was dead. You remember this? So I decided to revisit that and was kind of shocked to learn that that journalist was brand spanking new. Like, she had started writing for the first time in May of that year, and just a couple of months later, she decides to head to Etsy, and of all people to cast a spell on and to try a witch's spell, she chooses Charlie Kirk. I don't know, that just felt a little bit random to me. And then I dug a little deeper into the witches themselves. Turns out the witch's Etsy page was also new because in the immediate aftermath, Charlie dies on the 10th, Etsy moved to suspend their witch's account, but I went onto Wayback Machine, and yeah, they had been on Etsy for just under a month, and suddenly someone bought a spell from them, and Charlie Kirk was dead. Take a look at their Etsy page that I dug up because it's going to get a little bit weirder. These Strix sisters did not even have a website, by the way. Like, I'm talking brand new, nobody knew who they were, and they filed for their website and purchased a domain name on September 12th. This is before Etsy suspended their account. They get their website up and going, and it's ready on the 15th. Take a look. You can do this yourself on Wayback, and you can see that when I say they built this website quickly, like, you could buy stuff and buy spells and curses on their website. So suddenly they're like very internet savvy and no one knows who these girls are. But apparently they also had access to the press because they published an article on September 26th in the Daily Mail. We are the witches. I am the witch that cursed Charlie Kirk. Who did they reach out to? How did the journalists know that this was not a hoax? Did they use their real names? I'll show you this article. We are told in the article that a priestess Lilyn is the one who cursed Charlie. Again, there are no names used for these individuals anywhere, so I'm just curious how the Daily Mail writer, Nick Allen, and also there was a writer for the Mirror UK, felt confident that they were actually speaking to the individuals who allegedly cursed Charlie Kirk. Did they give them their real names? Can somebody in the chat find their real names? Because I don't know, I'm just thinking that this is another individual that I'd probably like to speak to understand how all of this came together. It just seems very, very strange to me. Am I technically asking the internet to go on a witch hunt? Yeah. I want the names of these priestesses, their real names. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair ask. I have a feeling this might be another piece of the puzzle. Who put the quote-unquote spell on Charlie Kirk that he was so concerned about the night before, which I call BS on. There were a lot of crazy people who wrote articles about us. Charlie losing sleep over a priestess who didn't exist a month ago seems a little extra to me. Anyways, finally email us at moretips@candaceowens.com. Thanks.
Okay, so let's work backwards and talk about what this actually means, okay? So one of the final graphics that we showed is a message from a user or a viewer. As a current Etsy shop account owner, I have to say this seems like the weirdest part to me. Now, I don't know anything about the market for spells and witchcraft, but to only Etsy shop for a month and already have 45 5-star reviews is very, and 173 sales seems high to me. After every one of my sales, I send a message asking for a review as well as yada yada. Okay, so bottom line is they're saying this is like very, very, very hard to believe that there was this much history on this thing in only 1 month. Like how does that happen? Okay. And when you go to the actual page itself, you learn essentially nothing about these women. But the Daily Mail somehow was able to verify that they were the ones who cursed Charlie Kirk and all that stuff. And most important, okay, the website was purchased on 9/12, 2 days after Charlie was killed. Okay? After Charlie was killed. And the Strick Sisters is only 1 month old, the Etsy account. So the Etsy account's 1 month old. The website is 2 days after Charlie gets shot, 1 month before Charlie gets shot. Okay, the entire thing is insanely suspect. Super, super sus. What does it mean? I don't know. Right? I mean, I think I know. I'm pretty sure I know. You know what I mean? And now we're going to get to the segment that I was referencing earlier where TPUSA said something damning from my perspective. And we're going to get to that in a second, right?
I love you. Everything.
It was like 2000. After a word from our sponsor, Knick Knack. Oh, and to anyone who works at Blenders, I'm trying to get sponsored, dude. I'm wearing your guys' glasses and people are asking me about them all the time, constantly. So why don't you put your eyeballs on this ad read and go, oh my God, we need this guy, because you do. And to everybody else, stick around, do not leave. Okay, I'm telling you that what TPUSA says in this clip is going to live up to the hype. I absolutely guarantee it. Stick around. Nicotine in its glory days fueled the boldest leaders, the quiet legends that just wanted to get the job done. Somewhere along the way, we lost the plot. Effeminacy crept in. People started telling us what to do. Men traded in duty for comfort. And Big Tobacco sold us nothing but compromise. Knick Knack raises the old banner again. This is nicotine perfected. Honest and intentional. Family owned and manufactured in the USA. Knick Knack is a fully dissolvable nicotine lozenge. A lip brick, if you will. Made of just 6 premium ingredients. Clearly listed on the back. No tricks, so you know exactly what's in it. No smoke, no pouch, nothing hidden at all. Made with real essential oils for real flavor. Available in both 3 and 6 milligram options. Raise the standard, reject the slop, join the pursuit for good, the true and the beautiful. Bam! Get your Knick Knacks at knickknack.com/JesseOnFire and use code JesseOnFire for 20% off. Or use the store locator and find Knick Knacks near you. Knick Knack, crush your vice. Warning, this product does contain nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical. Now, in the later segment, we're going to take a look at some information that is directly supportive of, what I believe this means. And we're going to do that shortly. But first, we are going to talk about this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this segment, and you're just going to have to sit through it. What is Andrew Tate doing? What is Andrew Tate doing there? I thought he's in a Miami prison. Jeez, or jail. These TPUSA guys are involved in everything. Just kidding. So it's going to take a couple minutes. Bear with it. I promise you it's going to be worth it.
I'm quite familiar with the rise of trans violence, and this is a phenomenon that I noticed in my 10 years of reporting on Antifa, particularly during the BLM Antifa riots in 2020 after George Floyd died. I noticed that night after night, there was such a disproportionate representation of trans individuals amongst the violent riot suspects who were arrested in my home city of Portland and in places like Seattle and other cities across the United States. So then I kept looking more and more into it. And then eventually it led me into investigating a trans death cult that operated across the US with members from all over the world. And they are accused of and are linked to at least 8 violent, brutal deaths. So the things inside a trans death cult is the result of a year and a half of investigating field research, interviews with witnesses, gathering evidence that people have never seen, and it's a true crime book. This is not a right-wing political book. It's about gathering the facts and describing a phenomenon that we all are becoming too familiar with, and it's also an indictment against failures in law enforcement, in institutions, in the court, and in society.
Coming to a lifestyle near you.
Yeah, and Andy, when does the book come out? So people can pre-order?
13th
of October. Wow. And it's available for pre-order now.
Yeah, exactly. Please, everybody check this out. It's so important, and it strikes very close to home here, obviously. But you announced this book, Andy, and you get instantly like a massive amount of pushback and blowback from this community. You are probably their least favorite person, and there's this one tweet we're looking at right here. We can put it up on the screen. It says, "Using the spiritual power contained within my favorite childhood stuffed toy as a conduit, I condemn your soul, Andy. No, you will begin coughing in a week." And it's pictures of some like voodoo doll ritual, which is like really disturbing. There's a picture of this trans person that is doing this, and it looks like a very disturbed, dark individual.
You're
I'm
a
assuming
disturbed,
this is
dark
is a
individual.
male, dressed up like a woman, and that's the person putting this sort of hex on you or something, right? And
You're putting
why this-
hexes on
when I saw
people.
this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on. Is because
Not
it
a hex,
instantly reminded
stupid.
me of what it reminded you. You
It's
posted
cursed.
about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What'd you just say?
I'm sorry.
What the
Did you
hell did
say
you just say?
They paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie
said
Kirk. I
we.
feel like
He
that's
said-
what he said. We should probably just double check that since, Freudian
Rewind
slip that no one caught apparently.
When I saw this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on. Is because it instantly reminded me of what it reminded you. You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk. We paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
You did that. You mother effer.
He says he was reminded we paid some Etsy witches to curse or hex Charlie Kirk. Yeah. I mean, listen, dude. Okay. Why would they pay to have Charlie Kirk hexed by Etsy witches?
You just said
and
you
why
did it. I thought he said
are
he
you
did it.
paying someone who started up their little Etsy witch program a month prior to this happening? Unless maybe, I don't know, is it possible that they started the entire thing? They set up the website, they set up the Etsy witches, they're the ones who used their PR hand in order to release the story that Etsy witches cursed Charlie Kirk, because again, it would push the narrative that leftist trans violent trans ideologists or whatever. Ideologists? Good God. Jesse, were you in Vegas this weekend? Is your brain at all working? No, it's not. It's not at all. I will be shocked if this is even a halfway competent video. But anyway, I am
'cause you didn't
still
catch it.
at 10% operational power. I still can back into, did you just say you guys paid for that? So what does it mean? What has my theory been? Okay, what has my theory been? Well, hang on.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep the video going because I want to.
Because what this could mean is that people at TPUSA maybe did all of those things, set up the website, set up the witch's curse. They made sure that the PR, their PR arm got the people to run that article, all in an effort to frame, leftists, because they were going to whack out Charlie Kirk, and then they wanted to pin it on someone else. But again, when you go back to my original hypothesis, which is based on the belief that there is absolutely no way that the
ritual, which is like really disturbing, there's a picture of this trans person that is doing this, and it looks like a very disturbed, dark individual. I'm assuming this is a male dressed up like a woman, and that's the person putting this sort of hex on you or something, right? And why this, when I saw this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on, is because it instantly reminded me of what it reminded you. You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What? I'm sorry. Did he say they paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk? I feel like that's what he said. We should probably just double check that, since, Freudian slip that no one caught, apparently.
Why this, when I saw this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on. New doll ritual, which is like really disturbing. There's a picture of this trans person that is doing this, and it looks like a very disturbed, dark individual. I'm assuming this is a male dressed up like a woman, and that's the person putting this sort of hex on you or something, right? And why this, when I saw this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on, is because it instantly reminded me of what it reminded you. You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What?
You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What? I'm sorry. Did he say?
You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What? I'm sorry. Did he say that?
You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What? I'm sorry. Did he say they paid?
Posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
What? I'm sorry. Did he say they paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk? I feel like that's what he said. We should probably just double check that, since, Freudian slip that no one caught, apparently.
Why this, when I saw this, I was like, Andy, you gotta come on, is because it instantly reminded me of what reminded you. You posted about it, but instantly when I saw the threats against you, and I remembered, we paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk. We paid some Etsy witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
So, yeah. He says he was reminded we paid some Etsy witches to curse or hex Charlie Kirk. Yeah, I mean, listen, dude, okay? Why would they pay to have Charlie Kirk hexed by Etsy witches? And why are you paying someone who started up their little Etsy witch program a month prior to this happening? Unless maybe, I don't know, is it possible that they started the entire thing? They set up the website, they set up the Etsy witches, they're the ones who used their PR hand in order to release the story that Etsy witches cursed Charlie Kirk, because again, it would push the narrative that leftist trans violent trans ideologists or whatever, ideologists, good God. Jesse, were you in Vegas this weekend? Is your brain at all working? No, it's not. It's not at all. I will be shocked that this is even a halfway competent video. But anyway, I am still at 10% operational power. I still can back into, did you just say you guys paid for that? So what does it mean? What has my theory been Okay, what has my theory been? Well, hang on there, confirmation bias, because what this could mean is that people at TPUSA maybe did all of those things, set up the website, set up the witch's curse. They made sure that the PR, their PR arm got the people to run that article, all in an effort to frame, leftists, because they were going to black out Charlie Kirk, and then they wanted to pin it on someone else. But again, when you go back to my original hypothesis, which is based on the belief that there is absolutely no way that the organization of TPUSA together is going to kill their leader, for what reason, then you end up back at, well, what if it's a hoax? What if it's a hoax?
Dude, they
what if
killed
Charlie
him.
is not in fact dead?
Them people are evil. They just told you they paid.
Conspiracy to...
They paid a witch to curse. They paid a whole group of witches to curse Charlie Kirk.
I'll show you guys again. Just like
Come on, who did it? TPUSA did it.
It's possible to have happened here. Do I know? Of course not. It is totally possible that Charlie's dead, TPUSA did it, or it's totally possible that Charlie's dead and leftists did it. It's totally possible that, he was hit with a direct energy weapon from space. I have no idea, okay? Now, if you made me bet, I assume you guys already know which way I'm betting, but let's look at that right now. All right, let's rock and roll. Check this out. So, it started with Mikey McCoy. Oh, wait, super quick before we do. Oh, what's that you say? That's the Jesse on Fire Clips channel. The link is in the top of the description. This is definitely something you're going to want to go subscribe to, because we're going to be we're putting out videos every single day. Calmly strolling off. Everybody's seen this. He's on his phone. Charlie gets shot. No, Charlie gets shot. He just immediately starts strolling away. Nice and calm, no reaction, because that's definitely what you would do, right? And then we're going to see some other stuff that happened after this. Phone clearly in his right hand. And what happens? Bang in a second, and he's just gonna super chill. La la la. Yeah, YouTube hates that segment, so I couldn't show it. There he is again, just walking nice and calm. Okay, and so now we get into some of the weird things that were said about what he did, which apparently, per video, not true. Okay.
He's saying are lies. He didn't find his voice saying anything about Netanyahu. Candace investigating things? Yeah, that's gotta stop. Here's what he wrote, okay? What's his name? Rob McCoy?
The minute Charlie was shot, he called me, says, Dad, Charlie's been shot in the neck. Please call every path. He has wits about him. He's just directing. He had blood all over him.
Tell me why, Turning Point? No one treated Charlie Kirk. No one tried to stop the bleeding. We have not treated a human being that's been shot, okay? Those of us that have know. Blood is everywhere, Alex. It is, I don't want to say the F word, everywhere. Blood is fucking everywhere. It's fucking everywhere. It would have been over everybody's hands. It would have been over all of their shirts, pants, especially an artery shot like that.
And everyone who is involved in lies with subtlety of deception without any fact, you're participating, and you've got...
Rob McCoy
is like every other thing that we could look at, and if you wanted to go check out my series that I did on this, it's called The Manufactured Martyr. I believe Charlie's Live. It's in my playlist. I realize how crazy that sounds, but just give it a run. Just another theory, dude. Just like the exploding mic theory, it explains literally why the shirt puff. It explains everything. That's the one thing that I can say about the Charlie's Alive theory, is it's the one theory that I have heard anyone come up with that explains every single anomaly, all of them, all of the anomalies explained by that theory. You guys can check it out if you want, but again, I'm not confirmation bias here. It is the same evidence would support TPUSA being involved in blacking them out. And when I say evidence, I don't even mean evidence, because it's just suspicious, because there's nothing that I could possibly know for sure across the board. And that's how I never defame anyone. You know what I mean? But anyway, give it a look. Let me know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Bye-bye.
Okay, what happened? What happened to the show all of a sudden? Oh yeah, that guy just ends abruptly. I forgot. I like that action style and then
Just
abruptly.
can't wait to see how they spin this.
You don't see it
War
coming.
wasn't always the American way. I don't blame people for being skeptical of any FBI data. We have a mass noticing going on. This presidential administration hasn't enacted the agenda it campaigned on. Wars can be started by lies. Peace can be started by truth. No more war, no more debt, no more inflation, and no more empire.
I haven't watched this guy's show in a while.
What is going on, World of Liberty Vault? Be back with you tonight,
Liberty
broadcasting live from Nashville as usual tonight. Flock cameras are everywhere. In fact, they might be in your local community in places that you don't even know about, that your neighbors don't know about, and yet they represent such an invasive violation of our rights. And all this is going on under the auspices of providing you security, of making your community safe. But do they really? I doubt my guest thinks that, but the CEO of Flock thinks you're a terrorist if you dare point that out and even point out the locations of these cameras. So we'll talk about the dire threat represented by Flock, but actually the white pill perspective that many communities are rising up, even under legal means in some cases, to cancel the contracts, get the information out about Flock, and what you can really do about it. We'll also talk about the pervasive surveillance state at a federal level. Palantir and its entrenched tendrils in the deep state, working in tandem with the CIA, the FBI, all the other intelligence agencies. I think we have 18 or so, much of which is covered by a budget that Americans can't even know about because it's secret, it's classified, even though they're fleecing you to pay for it. Was Doge just a smokescreen to expand the surveillance state and get Palantir's Foundry software installed so they can harvest our data and aggregate it all into centralized databases? We'll talk to him about that too. And will J.D. Vance's political ambitions be stifled at all because of his connections to Peter Thiel, the PayPal mafia, and Palantir itself? So we'll get to the bottom of that. And more or less, Jason's going to tell us what the flock is going on, man. So we have Jason Bassler here. Jason is the co-founder of the Free Thought Project. He's also the founder of Police the Police. His work and it himself has been featured in coverage by Rolling Stone, InfoWars, and lots of other publications. I really mean it when I say that he runs an organization that delivers more of the truth about the surveillance state, the law enforcement apparatus, and the police state than just about any other organization out there. Jason, your entire Twitter feed is just lobbing out information about Flock day after day. It's so invaluable. Thanks so much for being with us here today on a pressing topic that we need to know more about.
Dave, thank you so much for having me back. Always enjoy rapping with you, brother. Thank you for the kind words. And I should probably preface by saying this is my third interview today, so if I seem a little amped up or jittery, that might be why. But I am wearing my Lucky Rothbard shirt today, so, you know, it's got the good vibes. It's got everything going for me right now. So, yeah, let's get into this, man.
Let's get into that. We love to see that, man. Any Rothbard plug is going to go far and wide in this show. And by the way, Jason saying that is just his humility. He actually saved his best for this show. I happen to know that. Maybe I'm a mind reader, but that's just what I think. So, all right, Jason, let's just get into this in an overarching way. For people that don't know much about Flock, I'd like you to just start with the basics because I know no one can really tell about this and the threat better than you. Like, what is Flock? Why is it a threat to our privacy when tied into these government monopolies, even on a local level? And why is it getting so much more publicity lately in your mind?
Sure, man. Yeah, well, you know, ultimately, let's just sum it up in one sentence. It is surveillance infrastructure. And I don't say that lightly. I'm very objective about this kind of stuff. Basically, a Flock camera is an automated license plate reader. It's created by Flock Safety. It's marketed as a safety tool to identify stolen cars or vehicles or crimes that happen to be in motion. The way I like to talk to people about it, and forgive me if your audience has heard this before, but it's basically if you had a police officer on your corner of your block, now multiply that by on every corner, on every block in your neighborhood, outside of your neighborhood, in your town, in your entire community. It's basically an army of cops at the track. And basically what these automated license plate readers do is they record and they track, they monitor and log your vehicle through these unique identifiers, whether it be the color of your car, the make, the model. It even can identify dents, bumper stickers, roof racks, stuff like that. It's basically your digital fingerprint. So they know where you're going, where you've been, how often you're going, and how long. Now, people have probably seen these cameras, as you mentioned, Dave. They are very popular right now. It's very much a conversation in the public lexicon. But there are multiple types of these devices that actually procures. It's not just the automated license plate reader that most people see on poles. They also have the Raven mics that also detect gunshots or any type of human voice. They can analyze human voice. There's also the Aerodome drone first responders, which have been turned into Flock's Maven drone. And we can get into that in a little bit. But so there are several types of basically tracking devices that Flock owns and operates. And all this stuff ultimately is kind of a legal gray area as far as Fourth Amendment violations. Is it reasonable to have any expectation of privacy? Most people would say no, but it gets a little more complicated when these private companies are surveilling your everyday movements. You're tracking your route to work, your route to the gym, all these types of things. So ultimately, people are concerned and worried that this is some type of a larger infrastructure designed as public safety, and it is part of a larger predictive policing AI data pipeline that could very easily be fitted into a operating system like Palantir has several different operating systems, in fact. So ultimately, what these are supposed to do is track crimes, vehicles involved with crimes, assist law enforcement, but here's the problem, is that they are being abused, and they're being abused on a massive scale. There's at least 24 documented cases right now of officers who are misusing the license plate readers to either stalk potential lovers, exes. We even heard of a certain incident where law enforcement tracked somebody going to an abortion clinic using this. We've also heard about at least 15 documented cases, and this was a few weeks ago when I was compiling these stats, that Flock algorithm errors have led to innocent people being arrested. So there's been thousands of improper searches, hundreds of agencies, including the FBI, DHS, ICE, have all abused these databases that Flock runs, and it's just turning into a complete shit show, for a lack of a better word. It's certainly not a glitch. This is something that is turning out to be a consistent pattern. And unfortunately, man, these cameras are everywhere. Now, we can't talk about the idea that they are publicly funded, which they are. They're going up, at the behest of your local law enforcement, but there's also private companies, private HOAs that are using them. But there are a list of different companies, Lowe's, Home Depot, FedEx, Kaiser Permanente. All these companies have them on their property. So we're more or less bankrolling our own surveillance here, whether it be the taxpayer ones or these privately operated ones. And as you mentioned, Flock doesn't want to have any transparency when it comes to where these cameras are located, all these different things. They don't want to tell us who they share the data with, how long the data is stored, how long the data, or who has access to the data. I mean, there are so many issues with this, Dave, that it's almost unfathomable. It blows my mind, because I could keep rattling on here. I'm not going to. I could keep rattling on here for the next 5 minutes talking about all the issues, constitutional violations, and privacy concerns. But that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, man, I'm sure it is. I was actually really pleased to see Tucker Carlson do an entire monologue on this. I saw that he did an interview with a guy that's really proficient in knowledge and part of the movement to try to stop Flock as well as you are. And one of the things that I just thought was so eerie, because it really shows how this can be not only abused in the sense that it's gathering data, which does pervert our basic privacy rights. It does, execute warrantless searches and seizures of some extent in legal code, no matter how unfounded that is in legal doctrine or case precedent, etc. But one of the things that they were talking about was if the police departments want to actually target individual dissidents that they determine need more tracking that should be targeted without a warrant, they can set up like a notification system to like do individual dystopian tracking on me or you if we happen to, you know, mouth off one time, or they didn't like our social media opinion on Iran or something like that. So what are some of the capabilities in which they've been most abused? I know you talked about maybe tracking people as potential lovers and stuff like that. It's just horrifying, but what are some of the most egregious applications that you've learned about?
Well, most people are familiar with the flock condor, and that is the kind of general black unit that most people will see. But there are also different variations of these things, which I think there is the falcon. The falcon is the most popular one, but the condor is the actual camera that allows the people in these first responder flock response rooms, which are set up across the country in different police departments, the ability to pan, tilt, and zoom. So they're not just stationary fixed cameras. Some of these, and they're the ones that are kind of in the globe-like features, they actually have the ability to pan, to tilt, to zoom, and they also have the ability for real-time recording. So if people are being tracked, let's say, or if there is some type of incident going on near one of these Condor PTZ cameras, police could easily zero in on it. Not to mention, again, what I was talking about before, which are these Flock Maven drones, which, boy, let me get into that here for 1 second, because these guys are extremely concerning. They have thermal vision, they self-launch, they self-recharge, they fly up to 60 miles per hour, they live stream to police, and it's basically integrated with Flock's network. So this is more than just a camera on a stick. This is surveillance infrastructure that basically flies. And, you know, that is...
What happened?
Looks like Jason froze there. Does anyone else see that?
Yeah.
Oh, Jason's back. All right, sorry it froze, but you're back, Jason. Go for it. Keep going.
Okay, yeah, hopefully that's not on my side, but I was just detailing what these Flock Maven cameras, or excuse me, the Flock Alpha cameras are up to, and they basically have all these capabilities. They can fly up to 60 miles per hour. They live stream to police. They could read license plates from up to 2,000 feet away. So it is ultimately a bigger ecosystem than what we're just seeing on our streets. It's not just these cameras on poles, which, you know, people are certainly having a field day right now cutting down. I'm all for it. Either way, though, we have to understand that this is part of a larger digital environment that they're building right now. And this doesn't even touch on some of the other automated license plate reader companies that are also in the mix, like Axon and Aurora. So I know that doesn't directly answer your question, Dave, but I think that kind of gives a little bit more context to how big of a threat. And of course, you know, I say all that, I'm not trying to black pill your audience, but I think we do need to know the scope of just how massive this industry is becoming and how big and expansive these devices that they're coming up with, how effective they are actually at surveilling us.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I kind of hinted at in the intro, there is a brighter side of this story where people are rising up and canceling a lot of these contracts, canceling a lot of the abuses, and we'll talk about that in a second. But one thing I wanted to point out is actually a video that you linked in your broadcasting of information to the public about this some time ago on YouTube, because Flock's CEO, Garrett Langley, has targeted organizations like DFlock, which by my understanding is just an organization that gives citizens information literally just about the locations of these cameras that are supposedly innocuous if you're Garrett Langley, and has called that organization a terrorist organization. So let's play this clip, and then I'd like your response, man. This is horrifying.
And unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like DFlock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else. And that, I think, is unfortunate, because we don't want chaos, or I don't want chaos. I like law and order. like a society that has a bedrock of safety. So for those groups, I think it's just disappointing that they haven't chosen a more constructive mannerism to try to get what they want, which they have a right to have, but that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone. Elected officials know that as a community, you want to be safe. As a family, you want to be safe. And Flock is the best way to create a safe community.
All right, Jason, this is so horrifying in so many ways. It's always that we're providing your safety, and it really harkens me back to a famous Benjamin Franklin quote when he said, if you give away permanent liberty on behalf of temporary safety, you'll essentially have neither. So what does this say about how these people view us? These people that mostly procure profit through its associations with government and the perversion of our rights.
Well, I think the motto for Flock says it all, is safety is a fundamental right. And if that's not enough, I think maybe just the name of the company itself, Flock, I mean, like they're the shepherds, taking care of and leading the flock. I don't know. It is kind of perverse in a lot of ways, but, I'm not somebody who will take the stance that privacy is an innate right or a natural right. But I would suggest that privacy is more of a right than safety is. And as you pointed to, Dave, anytime these people start spouting things along the lines of it's for safety or for the community or for the greater good, your red flag should go up. The spidey senses should be tingling. Now, I should probably mention, though, that these things move very fast. And you're right. Garrett Langley did mention that DFLOC, which is just an organization trying to actually locate and map where these cameras are a bunch of terrorists, and he equated them to Antifa, which is pretty funny and pretty ironic, right? I mean, as if Antifa is the biggest, baddest boogeyman there is, and it's not like DFLOC suggesting people should be throwing bricks through Starbucks windows or anything like that. But just recently, and this is a total 180 for this company, Flock has been on damage control. They're totally on this full-blown please stop being mad at us PR tour right now, and they're showing it in a various different ways. I want to touch on them just very quickly. So first of all, just
Yo.
Hey.
Hey.
You laying out there?
Yeah, where I am, it is.
Where you at?
I don't know. To be honest, Conyers or somewhere, Covington.
Huh?
Covington, I think.
Where?
Covington.
Oh. You
Far?
can't get severe thunderstorms till 1 a.m.
Right on.
I called signal, that's all.
Okay, yeah, I'm straight.
I don't want to get off. Yeah, I just want to check on you, basically.
Well, thank you, and I love you.
God bless you.
Okay, God bless you. Peace. Bye. Call me when you find out. Love you. Bye.
To touch on your point, the CEO, Garrett Langley, actually apologized. He actually apologized recently, I think within the past week or so, for calling DFLOC terrorists, which I think that, he doesn't mean it. I'm pretty sure he still harbors those types of feelings, but nevertheless, it does really kind of highlight that there's this, 180 happening, this about face that seems to point to the fact that, hey, like they realize they're getting kicked in the, and they realize how bad the branding is getting for Flock. So they're also finally opening up their comment section on Twitter, which is kind of amazing because for years they would post these puff pieces and then they would just turn off the comments. So nobody was ever able to respond or have a dialogue with them. And speaking of Garrett Langley, I think there was like kind of a meme going around on the internet for a while that if you were blocked by him, you got your G card because it's Garrett Langley. You got your Garrett G card, and we were passing around this meme. You got a G card. I got a G card.
Did you have your card?
I made the card, man. Of course I have. But anyway, we trolled him so hard that actually he unblocked everybody. I tweeted just yesterday asking, has he unblocked you too? And a bunch of people responded saying, yeah, like magically I'm unblocked. So I think that's grounds for continuing to troll him and giving us more opportunity to do that. But I think all this points to the bigger fact that public perception is important. And the more that we use our voice, the more we stand up and speak out about these things, even if it's just online, even if you think you're just posting a couple of silly words, it has a very real reaction, and it's actually changing the whole dynamic of the situation. So keep doing it. And, this is exactly how we win the culture wars and the info wars.
Yeah, right on, man. I wanted to talk to you about that. And I had another person on my show. His name is Yannick Schroeder. You might know him. He was on Tucker Carlson's podcast. He's also kind of an expert on the surveillance state. He's a German, and I think that he's really proficient in these sorts of things. And he was telling us about, how these things work and operate, where it's never really about your safety, and the fact that there's not really a consumer-driven demand for like a pervasive surveillance state. Flock gets the power that it has to kind of pervert our rights in collusion with government by serving government, by being entrenched in government with these contracts. It's not Joe Blow consumer demanding this thing that benefits their life. In fact, a lot of people don't seem to know about it, and when they do know about it, you have people rising up. And I've noticed about your Twitter account,
head Brown Bridge Road, then turn left onto Brown Bridge Road.
Information about how these flock cameras can be overcome. Is it strictly about just getting the information?
Your route may be affected by severe thunderstorm warning.
People don't know about it, but once they learn about it, they have major problems with it. And can you speak to a lot of the contracts that have been canceled that you've highlighted too? I think even the LAPD recently decided to stop using Flock, which that's a major stride, man. And if other places adapt to that, you're seeing why there might be this PR change. And what can we take from that? What are some strategies that they've used?
Absolutely, brother. Yeah, I would love to sink our teeth in for a moment on the solutions as well, because that's something that I've very much tried to focus on and give people a variety of different options, whether they want to do it legally, illegally, or whatever. But I think you're right. It is important that we take a second to really acknowledge the moment, because it's not often that the organic grassroots movements that start online really kind of take wind and really take over the internet and touch on some aspects of the mainstream media, which, I kind of think is important to note, because look, like, we've been doing this type of work for a long time, and it's very few and far between when the mainstream actually acknowledges any of our positions, let alone talks about them. So I think it's important that we recognize this moment right now. And I do think this is a continuation of the Overton window, kind of shifting away from the mainstream opinions, the corporate talking points, because of COVID. After COVID, there was obviously a profound distrust of authority and in government institutions. But there are also a bunch of groups
at the stop sign, turn left onto Brown Bridge Road.
These things online, how to take them down illegally. Groups like Operation Flockout, which are focusing nationally on just taking down the cameras by any means necessary. And then there's like another one called Knock the Flock, I think, that's in the Midwest. And they're basically inspiring other people to do the same. But I think this comes back to ultimately being a visual representation of the surveillance state. And we know that the Trump administration is in bed with, a lot of these types of companies and big tech and stuff like that. But for the first time, I think people are seeing a visual representation on their streets of the surveillance state. And not only that, it's the surveillance state that's co-opted their town and their city council. And people are upset. They're frustrated about it. They never consented to these things. $8 billion company that's profiting off of tracking them, monitoring them, logging all their movements and stuff. And, we're going to get into Palantir here in a second. And people certainly hate Palantir, but they don't have Palantir in their neighborhood. It's not just on the corner over there that you can't do something about it, So I think what we're seeing is a visceral reaction to people being fed up with the surveillance state. And people like us, Dave, who have been watching this transpire for a decade plus.
Go past this light. Then, at the next one, turn right onto Georgia 162 North.
Snowden, back in 2013, he was leaking all the stuff about the PRISM program and how local law enforcement was using it against us. So I think there's people like us who are just kind of fed up with this, and especially kind of this new wave of surveillance tech that is clearly funding and creating this whole new industry that's basically...
At the light, turn right onto Georgia 162 North.
Yeah, I got kind of carried away. I know there was a second part to that.
No, I think you answered it. I mean, some of the strategies people have been using, you've spoken out about that. Do you want to add anything about like why some of these contracts are canceled? Is it just informational that people are going to their town halls, going to their city councils, or is there more to it than that?
It's a little bit of both. I think the physical representation of these things being cut down is important, but I know of at least a handful of cases of people using FOIA requests and actually putting FOIA requests in their local town and trying to make the city determine whether these cameras are actually public infrastructure or private infrastructure. And if it's public, well then FOIA request the footage that these cameras are producing. And so what we've seen is that there's a number of cities and towns who've actually discontinued their contracts completely, taken down the cameras just because they don't want the public to have access to these cameras, which is quite ironic if you think about it.
That is really ironic, actually.
But, I just remember I wanted to note this because I made a tweet about it. In July of 2024, only 13 cities had canceled Flock contracts. But as of July of this year, according to DFlock, 94 cities have canceled them. So there obviously is some type of mass awakening going on. People are frustrated with not only the Flock cameras, but the data centers as well. A lot of people are seeing them kind of the correlation between the two. And not to mention that they're Peter Thiel funded. And I know we're going to get into Peter Thiel here, but his greasy hands are also involved with Flock through his founders fund. So there's a lot of reasons to be up in arms and against Flock. But as I alluded to, it's not just Flock, though. It's also Axon and Motorola that we also have to be worried about to come in, swoop in if these cities do cancel the contracts. We've seen that already happen in a number of places where all of a sudden Flock's out, but Axon is in.
Yeah, man, it just seems like it's gradually approaching dystopia where, in the 1970s, I think it was in the 70s, you had like the Frank Church Committee exposing a lot of the deep state scandals, the deep state atrocities, and some of the groundwork being laid for the modern surveillance state. Then you had Snowden's revelations you talked about. In some ways, it kind of looks like child play now with Flock and Palantir, and other organizations like this seem to be laying the groundwork for like a CBDC and something just insanely terrible. But you do have those white pill moments, the canceled contracts, and I think every dissident needs to kind of take encouragement from that. Like some of this stuff is reversible, especially on a local level. You might not be able to, have your representative eliminate the Palantir contract, but you might get them to shut down Flock, and it's really important to see that side of the perspective, lest we just become, black pill doomers for the rest of our lives.
100%.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%, man. And there's other things that we should also consider wins. You already mentioned LAPD canceling their contract, which is absolutely a win with Flock. If they're going to actually renegotiate or if they're going to bring in another ALPR company, that's certainly possible. But we also just recently heard of Peter Thiel has fled to Argentina, and I don't know if you saw that. I don't know how much truth there is to it because this was across the mainstream media, and who knows what their thinking is or what the agenda or whatever behind actually telling us that, because that's not something that they usually divulge. But I take that as a win. If we've run him out of our country and he has this surveillance empire and he's already leaving with his family. I mean, leave to your bunker, man. Like, we don't want you here. So it's a good thing. But then, the massive AI data centers are being canceled. I know Meta just canceled its latest AI project. So, again, this is the power of our voice, guys. Like, we do need to continue to speak out about this stuff because it really is having an impact with these companies. And the battleground, the front lines, more or less, is Twitter and social media platforms.
Yeah, man, the independent media and a freer Twitter, there's imperfections, don't get me wrong, but this is not at the height of the COVID regime where you'd express a dissonant opinion on the particular topic du jour and maybe get completely banned or your information scrapped or suspended. The last thing I want to ask you about Flock, Jason, is the feds actually have a lot of flock contracts too. Do you know the extent to which like the feds share their information with state and local level authorities, such that the local level authorities are actually helping the enforcement of the feds into the states? And do you have much information on that, or to the extent that's being done?
Yeah, earlier this year, there was quite a few scandals that involved ICE, whether it be illegally tapping into a local police department's flock database. Even the ATF got caught doing it. So it's not just cops that are abusing this. And it's problematic. Now, Flock assures us that there's ways to mitigate this, that they have the safety checks in place. In fact, they have a whole system to identify when their systems get breached. But at the same time, you know how these things go. There's always some type of insider. There's, one guy who happens to be at the police department that's friends with the ICE agent and whatever. He gives them the login credentials, and next thing you know, So this is something that, you know, it is susceptible and it's ripe for abuse. And the problem is there really isn't any guardrails put in place for this kind of stuff. And I actually caught a lot of flack on X recently saying this because people don't want guardrails. They don't want any types of checks and balances. They just don't want them to exist at all. But I think both of us being freedom lovers, Dave, I think there might be some private use applications for these things, whether it be on private property for your own homestead or HOA or something like that. Now, I'm not going to renege on my initial statement that these things are surveillance state infrastructure, but at the end of the day, I'm a freedom advocate. I'm not trying to tell people how to live their lives or what tech they can and can't use. So I think at the worst case scenario is there do need to be some type of guardrails that can actually limit the incentives for these law enforcement agencies and intelligence agencies to abuse this technology. Because right now it's like a free-for-all and we just find out about it later. These stories are coming out at least one every 2 or 3 days. So it is a big problem and it is something that we certainly need to put a stop to.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think you bring up an interesting point there because, yeah, there is applications in private hands of surveillance technology that will help secure your own security. But like, the problem amounts to when you give the government essentially monopoly control to use that equipment to pervert your rights. That's what we really have a problem with. And I look at it kind of like guns or AI. Like, I actually encourage peaceful people to own guns for their personal protection, but I wouldn't want the feds to have a monopoly.
Yeah, I'll be back.
love people to leverage that for peaceful reasons to promote their own productivity too. I'm not a Luddite, and that's something that separates many of us libertarians from a lot of the other dissidents perhaps. But I think you make such a good point. I do want to get into Palantir though. You already brought up Peter Thiel. We're also, and you brought up a bunker too that essentially he owns, but also someone else associated with Palantir. I'm chuckling because I learned this from you. Set up essentially a bunker complex in Miami, a $46 million one, where he, spying on you via the government, the entrenched tentacles of Palantir and its collaboration with the CIA and other government agencies, data collection on you, while he doesn't own a cell phone, he is in reinforced walls to prevent any kind of surveillance on him. I'm talking CEO Alex Karp. So doesn't this reveal like a striking irony about the current CEO, Alex Karp? And maybe you want to point out some additional ironies. And I have a few quotes that I've recorded from you maybe while you talk here.
Sure, brother. Yeah, well, yeah, he's certainly eccentric in his own right. He's certainly fidgety. I mean, there was that video that came out with him, like where he couldn't sit still in his chair, and then and he's bouncing all over the place. And then, of course, you know, the wise guys on the internet AI'd him into doing like somersaults and backflips on the chair and everything. It was great. But I think that's exactly the type of mockery we have to take to these people. And he's certainly a weird duck. And you're right. He doesn't own a cell phone, allegedly. He lives in isolation. You know, it's the privacy for me, surveillance for thee kind of mentality. And he's also this lifelong bachelor. He once said that